What is health? Allostasis and the Evolution of Human Design. Written by Peter Sterling. Read by George Gopen. Published by the MIT Press. The numerous figures referred to in this text and copious notes and references are all available in PDF form attached to this recording. This book is dedicated to the memory of Joseph Eyre, friend and navigator, lost at sea. My professional life involved two passions. One was to understand the brain by investigating its detailed circuitry. The other was to participate in the broad pro-social movements of my time. Both passions took root during my student years, the decades following World War II. I was a teenager when neurophysiologists first recorded electrical pulses from single neurons in the eye, and neuroanatomists first visualized synapses using the electron microscope. Soon, within just a few years, I had apprenticed myself in their laboratories, and later I used those approaches in my own laboratory, ultimately specializing in the structure and function of neural circuits in the retina. I was also a teenager when the black citizens of Montgomery, Alabama, won their boycott of the city buses and began to sit up front like everyone else. And I was still a teen at Cornell University when black students in Greensboro, North Carolina, held sit-ins to establish their right to eat at a public lunch counter. Soon I was organizing supportive picket lines in Ithaca, New York, and joining the Freedom Rides to Mississippi. As a doctoral student studying neuroanatomy at Western Reserve University, I'd slip away from my microscope to canvass door to door in Central, the poorest black ghetto in Cleveland, Ohio. Then, as a postdoc, I'd patrol the draft center as an anti-war activist in Boston's freezing dawn and later warm up by my oscilloscope at Harvard Medical School. Always, I was painfully conflicted, never certain whether I belonged in the laboratory or on the street. Eventually, as a junior faculty member at the University of Pennsylvania, I encountered Ingrid Waldron and Joseph Eyre, also biologist activists, who encouraged me to think more deeply about my experience in the streets. In Central, I had noticed that the people answering my knock were often partially paralyzed, face sagging on one side, speech slurred, leaning on a cane. Back in the laboratory, where my mentor was studying cortical connections to the brainstem and spinal cord, I learned that this condition, hemiplegia, results from a stroke that interrupts those very connections. Often, stroke is caused by essential hypertension, chronic high blood pressure. I'd never seen stroke in the white middle-class suburb where I grew up, nor in the prosperous white suburb of Brookline, where I'd canvassed against the Vietnam War. But I recalled that Central had once been a Jewish ghetto, where my grandfather had been restricted to a Jewish union of house painters. He too had suffered hypertension and early stroke. Hypertension, it seemed, might be driven by social tension. But how could that work? Essential in medical jargon means cause unknown, but actually there was a standard theory about essential hypertension. If you eat more salt than your kidneys can excrete, the volume of salt water expands in the circulatory system and pressure rises. According to this theory, black people suffer excessively from hypertension because, regrettably, their kidneys are genetically intolerant to salt. No role for the brain, no role for racism. Yet, perusing journals of cell structure, I found
Sample complete. Ready to continue?